What started as a routine security update spiraled into a global tech meltdown. From over 4,000 flights canceled to breaking news broken at the source. To help us understand what happened, why it had such a massive impact, and how to prepare for future incidents, we're joined by Amy Justis, president of CMIT Solutions of Charleston. Amy, great to have you back with us.
Oh, thanks so much. It's great to be here, as always.
Yeah. So they're calling this one of the biggest tech meltdowns in history. What went wrong?
It seems like it was primarily related to the lack of adequate testing, and that CrowdStrike, which is a cybersecurity protection vendor, released an update to their software that bypassed their testing controls and was released with a bug in it. And the ramifications of it were that anyone whose Windows computer was online when that update was released ended up having a blue screen when they went to log on. And very, very time-consuming to repair and just a huge issue for companies.
Why was the impact so massive? Even if you weren't using CrowdStrike, right? Why did it have such a huge worldwide impact?
Well, I think there are so many companies that do use it or that rely on vendors that also use it. But if you looked at some of the photos from the airports, that was crazy, where you look at the monitors for departures and arrivals, and it just has the Windows has a fatal error and needs to repair itself message across it. So.
And Amy, I want to ask you, most, because this was a little bit, just about a week ago that this all happened, and most airlines have recovered, but Delta is the one airline that seems to still be having issues. Why is that?
I think they had a more widespread deployment of it. They must have.
Okay. So obviously the impact was great, $5 billion.
$5 billion.
In Fortune 500 companies? Yeah, with a B.
Yes.
So, I mean, what was learned here? I mean, was there any insights that we gained?
Yeah, I think there are a number of insights that we learn from this, and it just reminds us, I think, of our vulnerability to technology. And it's something that's become so ingrained in everything we do, and then all of a sudden when you can't get online and you've got critical things to do, you think about, okay, what do I do now? But I think you need to have, well, obviously adequate procedures for restoring and having test plans for those, and local IT support that can help physically touch each machine, which is what had to happen. You had to have somebody actually manually repairing them. And then I think you also just need to think about, are there certain things you should keep in redundant forms, including paper? So maybe if you're in a critical role, you have a Windows PC, you have a Mac, you have a little bit of diversity of technology there and redundancy to help, so that if you have an issue, hopefully it's not every single thing impacted. But it is, I think the huge lesson learned is exactly how vulnerable we actually are.
Yeah, and it's important to talk about how to, mitigate the impact of something like this happening. But we're being told this was an isolated incident. But do you see this happening and more often in the future?
Well, I think that there are other applications, either in this case, which it obviously was not any malicious intent, but that is, think about a cyber criminal trying to figure out a way to do this intentionally and to introduce something that would cause such corruption. But
chaos.
I do think we will see more of it.
And now, how was CMIT Solutions impacted, or at all?
Thankfully, we were not materially impacted. Well, not impacted at all, because we don't use CrowdStrike. Other than that, we have some clients that we've been, that are prospects that have been impacted, and we've gotten some phone calls from them trying to get some help either in recovering or potentially transitioning away from their current provider.
And Amy, can you just quickly remind us about what CMIT Solutions is?
Sure. We're an IT managed service provider, and essentially that means we are the IT team and support for small to medium businesses.
Okay, and I'm assuming that you were pretty busy last Friday, right?
Yes, well, busy trying to scramble and make sure that nobody was impacted, because even if it weren't a particular client's computer, you know, they may have had vendors or other things that were impacted. So we were busy reading about it and checking on it and really making sure that we weren't impacted, but we were not, thankfully.
And of course, for more information about CMIT Solutions, you can go to cmitsolutions.com/Charleston for the local office. Amy, I want to thank you so much for joining us and talking about such a topic that we need to learn what to do.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Absolutely. We're back after this.